I'll never forget the morning it happened. It was one of those calm, perfect Saturdays where the world feels too peaceful for anything bad to happen. The sun was sitting just right on the rooftops. The air smelled like fresh-cut grass, and I had my music going while washing my silver SUV in the driveway. That car wasn't just metal and wheels to me. It was the result of years of work, student loans, and saying no to every small luxury until I could finally afford something that was mine. I had my day off from teaching my coffee sitting on the hood, and life felt steady. Then I saw her, standing there on the curb, arms folded like she owned the place. Nancy Drummond, my self-appointed HOA watchdog neighbor. Every neighborhood has one right, the kind who walks around with a clipboard and a permanent scowl, acting like she's guarding Buckingham Palace. She had her phone out already recording. "Excuse me," she called out, her tone slicing through my music. "Whose car is that?" I laughed, thinking she was joking. "Mine," I said, still wiping soap off the side mirror. She frowned. "That's not possible. I know everyone in this subdivision, and I've never seen you drive that vehicle." For a second, I didn't even know how to respond. I just stared at her, waiting for the punchline that never came. "You're serious?" I asked. Nancy lifted her phone higher. "Don't play smart. We don't need strangers stealing property in this neighborhood." I felt my heart thump once hard. "Strangers," I pointed to my front porch. "I live right there, 108 Willow Creek. Painted that door myself last spring." She didn't even look. "I've lived here 20 years. That car belongs to the Jenkins. They moved out 2 years ago." I could feel my jaw tightening. "They sold it to me 3 years ago." By now, 2 neighbors had wandered out, pretending to check their mail, their eyes darting between us like they were watching free TV. I took a slow breath, forcing calm. "Nancy, you're mistaken. If you're innocent," she said, smug, "you've got nothing to hide." And that's when she called the cops. Right there in front of my own house, hands on hips like she'd just caught a criminal. When the officers pulled in, she waved them over like she was hosting a parade. "There she is. She's trying to steal that car." One officer looked at me, then at her, and sighed like he'd seen this movie too many times. "Ma'am, can I see your license and registration?" "Sure," I said, handing them over. My name matched the title. My address matched the mailbox behind me. Everything lined up perfectly. The officer gave Nancy this look, tired, disappointed, maybe even embarrassed for her. "This car belongs to her, ma'am." Her face turned red. "That can't be right," she muttered. "She doesn't live here long enough to own something like that." The officer closed his notebook. "There's no crime here. Go about your day." She huffed, still clutching her phone like a weapon, but didn't say another word. I wanted to be angry. I wanted to scream, but I just went back to my car and kept wiping the water off, even though my hands were shaking. I wasn't about to let her see me break. You'd think that would be the end of it, but no. That was just the beginning. A few hours later, my friend sent me a screenshot from the HOA Facebook group. Nancy had posted reminder to all residents, "Please report any suspicious activity." There was an incident this morning involving a vehicle and an unidentified individual. Police were called. Stay vigilant. Unidentified individual. That was me, in my own driveway. I stared at that post for a long time, feeling my stomach twist. Every polite smile I'd ever given those neighbors flashed through my mind. The cookies I brought to the block party, the times I helped carry groceries for the older couple down the street. And now I was a suspicious individual. I told myself to ignore it, to move on, But by that night, my boss emailed me someone had forwarded him the video of me with the police. He told me not to worry, but that didn't stop the humiliation from crawling under my skin. The next morning, I woke up angry in a new way, quiet angry, the kind that sits in your chest and grows. I went outside, took photos of my car, my plate, the paperwork, everything. That's when I heard her voice again, that same sugary tone. "Oh, you're still here," I turned. "Where else would I be?" Nancy smiled, holding her coffee mug like a trophy. "You know people are concerned after yesterday. We just like to keep things peaceful around here." "Peaceful," I said. "You called the police on me for washing my car. I called because you refused to identify yourself. I told you my name, my address. You just didn't believe me." She took a step closer. "Well, forgive me for caring about safety." "Safety," I repeated, biting down my frustration or control. Her eyes narrowed. "Maybe if you introduced yourself more, there wouldn't be confusion. Or maybe," I said, stepping forward, "people should stop assuming who belongs where." She didn't have a comeback for that. That night, I decided I wasn't going to sit in silence anymore. I turned on my camera and spoke the truth, not yelling, not bitter, just honest. I explained everything, how I'd been accused, how it felt to be doubted in your own neighborhood. Then I posted it online. I didn't expect it to blow up, but by sunrise, thousands of people had watched it. Comments poured in. Some said, "You handled that better than I ever could." Others said, "That's exactly what happens every day in these neighborhoods." But while strangers online had my back, things around me got worse. A police cruiser started parking down the street. A note showed up on my mailbox. "You don't belong here." That's when I knew it wasn't about a car. It was about power. I called my cousin Tema. Renee, a journalist in Charlotte. She listened to everything and said, "This isn't neighborhood drama anymore. This is a story." That night I gathered every screenshot, every message, every HOA post, and put them in a binder labeled Incident Report. The next day I went straight to the HOA office during their open meeting. Nancy was sitting right there pretending to be unbothered, pastel sweater and all. When my turn came, I placed my binder on the table, and said, "On April 10th, I was accused by my neighbor of stealing my own car." That accusation was recorded and shared online. Even after the police cleared me, the harassment continued. So tell me, what exactly does belonging mean in this neighborhood? You could have heard a pin drop. The HOA president cleared his throat and mumbled something about reviewing procedures. I smiled, nodded, and walked out. But Nancy couldn't let it go. That same night she posted from a fake page. "Neighborhood watch, suspicious activity continues." A blurry photo of me walking my dog. That's when something in me snapped. I made my own group. Willow Creek Truth. Within hours, people started joining. One woman said she was fined for the wrong mailbox color. Another said she was warned about her teenage son's noisy car, while others got away with worse. All the stories led back to the same person, Nancy. By the next day, local news picked it up. They ran the headline, "Homeowner exposes HOA harassment pattern." Nancy saw it and lost it. She stormed onto my driveway the next morning screaming, "You had no right to go public. You're ruining our community." I was ready this time. My phone was already recording. I didn't ruin anything I said. I just told the truth. "Turn that off," she snapped. "No," I said quietly. "You like recording people, remember?" Her face turned crimson. She lunged at me, reaching for my phone, but I stepped back and the porch light flicked on, lighting us both up like a stage. "Touch me again," I said, steady as stone, "and this goes straight to the police." That video, her shouting me standing calm, spread even faster than the first. By evening, the HOA suspended her pending review. But that wasn't the end either. A week later, leaked HOA documents revealed that out of 80 citations issued in the last 2 years, more than 60 had gone to families of color or new residents, and everyone was signed by ND Nancy Drummond. The community flipped. The next meeting was packed with reporters, neighbors, everyone. People started speaking up, one after another, sharing their stories. Someone yelled, "This isn't about rules, it's about control." And then Nancy made her fatal mistake. "If some people can't handle structure," she snapped, "maybe they don't belong in Willow Creek." That line changed everything. The room went dead quiet. I stood up slowly and said, "Say that again." She froze. "You've spent years calling me suspicious, dangerous, untrustworthy. And now you're saying people like me don't belong. Everyone here just heard you." The crowd started clapping. First 1 or 2, then dozens. Nancy's face drained of color. She left halfway through the meeting, slamming the door so hard, the sound echoed. Weeks later, she resigned. The HOA president publicly apologized, promised new rules, more transparency, fair complaint reviews. For the first time in years, the neighborhood actually felt human. A few months later, Nancy moved away quietly. No goodbye, no farewell post, just gone. One evening, I was planting marigolds in my front yard when her granddaughter, a sweet teenage girl, came by. She looked nervous, holding her backpack. "Miss Parker," she said softly, "I just wanted to say I'm sorry for what my grandma did." I smiled at her. "You don't have to apologize for her, honey." "I know," she said, "but I wanted to." When she left, I sat on my porch for a long time, watching the sun dip behind the houses. For the first time since all this began, I felt free. Now, when I drive through Willow Creek, I see something new. People wave not out of politeness, but out of recognition, like they finally see me. You know, peace isn't about silence. It's about truth. Silence only protects the problem. Sometimes you have to stand up, not to shout, but to show people what's really happening. So yeah, that's my story. Tell me what you think. Was I right to go public? Or should I have just walked away? Drop your thoughts in the comments, because I know this isn't just my story. It's a lot of people's story. And maybe, just maybe, talking about it is how we finally start fixing it.